Mr. Hultgren of Illinois.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Chu. I'm concerned about the funding for DOE's Office of Science and specifically high energy physics, the program there, which is clearly in a period of transition right now. Administration has notified Congress it intends to shut down the Tevatron at Fermilab. I've met with, and that's ending here in fiscal year 2011, I met with Fermilab many times, and I know that they, with the end of the operations there of that record-breaking machine and all that's been accomplished there, Fermilab is ready to transition to new programs, one of them including the long baseline neutrino experiment. The LBNE is to be the anchor project for the Deep Underground Science and Engineering Laboratory at the Homestake Mines in South Dakota, as you know. It's my understanding that the President has proposed $32 million for DUSEL and for LBNE in his fiscal year 2012 budget request for DOE. I also understand that the Department stepped in when it became clear that a new stewardship agreement would be needed between DOE and NSF while a study is conducted and decisions are made on the path forward for these projects. Couple questions I had just on situation, and we've talked quite a bit about it, of really the importance of having basic research and all that our laboratories have brought to us. The President's fiscal year 2012 budget request total is $797.2 million for high energy physics. Overall, really does amount to a freeze at the fiscal year 2010 enacted levels, when other programs within the Office of Science are slated to increase from 21 to 24%. My question is, why is there such an imbalance in the basic research portfolio of the Office of Science?
Yeah, that's a tough decision, but let me explain what our thinking was on that. First, this does not mean we want to see an end to high energy physics and also fundamental nuclear physics and cosmology. Those are very, very basic things, and out of that research came amazing things. Just the fact that we have particle accelerators that gave us synchrotrons and light sources and neutron sources, actually its roots were in high energy physics.
Right.
And so it's a very, very direct connection between what you do in research in one area and how it can transform material science or medical research. Right now, yes, we're closing down the Tevatron. There was a move to keep it open for 3 additional years because the Large Hadron Collider at CERN had a mishap with their magnets, and they thought that if you keep that machine running for another 3 years, maybe you can, they're looking for the Higgs, and maybe you can score it under and perhaps discover the Higgs while they're fixing their machine. And in the end, what happened was the Large Hadron Collider got their machine up and running, and in the last several months, they were able to tweak it up and tune it up far faster than we thought they could actually get it up. And then if you look at the flux and the number of events coming out of that machine and the higher energy, then the decision became very clear. You're not on the verge. They weren't on the verge of anything, and the Large Hadron Collider would blow them away. So both the Department of Energy and the director of the laboratory and the management of the laboratory said, we shouldn't do this because this is about $35 million a year to keep it running. We'd rather take that money invested in the high-intensity frontier, which you also spoke about. This is using a new machine to create a lot of neutrinos to look at the neutrino sector. And we think that that is the right decision because this other machine in Europe is just would smoke us. And so we want to continue high-energy research in the United States. I mean, the sad part, as you know, is we could have maintained leadership in this field had we built a superconducting accelerator, the SSC in Texas, but that's water under the bridge. We still think high-energy physics and the questions high-energy physics and cosmology are asking lie at the most fundamental roots of science. What is matter? What is energy? Okay, and we think that this is still in some of the most exciting frontiers in physics, but right now we're trying to figure out, okay, given this big investment in CERN, which we then fund American universities and researchers to go over there, we still need something here in the United States that we can call our own, and we think that this high-intensity high-intensity frontier is that. But we're going through a tough decision. The high high energy physics community is wrestling with themselves. What's the best? We don't want to just continue. You know, this is austere budget time, so we can't just continue funding at a certain level. We can downsell, but when the great new thing comes along, then I could easily see us coming back up. But right now, that's the plan.
Just quickly, I hope that happens, but I think it is difficult now when the top scientists are going to CERN rather than staying here. And I hope that switch could happen. Mr. Chairman, if I could just have 30 seconds quickly, just specifically on the LBNE, just want to ask you the current status and the commitment. Are the resources there to be able to continue with LBNE and also with DUSEL?
Well, as you know, very quickly, the NSF actually started this project, and we became partners, and then the NSF decided not to. There were 3 critical experiments that we felt we want to have continue, but we're looking, again, in these very hard budget times, we're going to try to wrestle with it. We'd like to, it can't be the underground laboratory that was envisioned with both NSF and DOE support, but we have a committee now that's assigned to look at what is the best, given whatever budgets we get from Congress, what are the things we can and can't do. And so that committee has just been appointed, and they will be reporting out, but they've just been formed. But we would like to see it continue best we can. Again, it's about money.
Thank you. Just in closing, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much, Dr. Chu. And I do really appreciate your statements earlier when times are tight. I do think we have to make sure that we still have that commitment to basic research where private sector won't necessarily do that work, but this is an important function of government. Thank you very much.
I was hoping for a yes.